Hi, this is Roach. I usually do videos outside, but it was getting a bit, not just cold, but noisy with all the people out there at the park, so I've come back inside to do this one. It's an interesting one here, new to me, bit of a revelation. So I'm having to hold on to what it is that's occurred to me. It's quite subtle, but I'll keep it simple. My introduction to the vibrational shift, the raising into the 5D consciousness, which the Earth and the population who can make it are said to be currently undergoing. I was introduced to it through the works of a lady called Dolores Cannon last year. She was a hypnotist, passed away in 2014. Her work focused predominantly for quite a few of the decades. I think she was practicing for 40 years or so, in being able to put aside the conscious mind of her clients and communicate directly with what she called for most of it the subconscious, but then at the end she called it the source instead. And she found the conversations would carry on, same subject, months apart with a different client in a different part of the world, which is quite amazing. The implication or statement being it's the same subconscious, same source, the same consciousness. And the subjects spoken about were absolutely incredible. The multiple universes, multiple dimensions, aliens, history of this earth, how it came to be created, and many, many, many more subtle aspects as well. Mind-blowing. I highly recommend it. Anyway, she was told about the ascension process into 5D consciousness many times, and throughout her book she refers to it many, many, many times. And she's repeatedly told it's never happened before. They know the vibration is shifting, the energy is moving up. They know that, but they don't know what's going to happen, how it'll play out. Despite people, Dolores, regularly asking what will happen, we do not know, she kept being told. We do not know because it's never happened before, never ever happened before anywhere. And then other times it's never happened in this universe before, but kept saying it's never happened before. We don't know how it's going to work out, what's going to happen. I found that quite intriguing. It's never happened before, considering consciousness is infinite and endless. And that seems strange to me. Apparently, usually for people, when they move into a higher consciousness in that way, when the physical body goes as well, they actually die, pass away, and then come back at a higher vibration in another world, another vibration. The world doesn't move all at once, so it's said. And yet I've also heard it said elsewhere that it's happened many times before. On many planets, the vibration has risen and the people may or may not have gone with it. And this was a blatant contradiction to me, apparently. How can it have happened many times before and yet never ever have happened before? So this question mark has been in me without me looking at it too closely, because I thought, well, the answer will come when it's time if it needs to, but it doesn't make sense at the moment. It can't be both. And now I see that it can. And that's what I wanted to speak about today. And it's quite intriguing to me, and it feeds into everything I've been saying and everything I've said before. This is your life. This is consciousness. I know we like to call it we. We are this, we are one, we are consciousness. The 7 billion people are all sharing consciousness. I know we like to say that. But actually the we, W-E, in consciousness is even more subtle than that, because everything, every point of it is consciousness, even the gap between the physical objects, the molecules, and it's pure consciousness. The physical objects are pure consciousness. And yes, the bodies are consciousness. And the awareness looking out of the eyes that you are, where you're aware of yourself, is consciousness, but everything. So it's not just the 7 billion people. So if we want to get to that level, saying we, because it's all consciousness, then you've got to include everything as well. Not just the people, not just the animals, not just the plants, everything. But the experience here, when one connects with the being that you are, the consciousness, the source, is that I am this. Because at every point, aware of itself is aware that it is consciousness, and it's endless and boundless and infinite. There is no end. So I, the knowledge of the whole, is within the individual. Each point, I am everything. However big that everything is, I am it. Which is why this is called God consciousness, amongst other names. And that's your nature. So, are we okay with this? I hope so. It's okay. It's said this is a personal shift. We're told the earth is shifting, the vibration. And we've also read, you may have heard this before, maybe you haven't, that you pick your own timeline. You choose your own vibration, and that you'll slot into the vibration that fits you. You'll slot into whatever level you are at, your environment, you'll slot into that environment, because all possibilities already exist. It's been likened to trains waiting to leave a busy station. All these platforms, endless. And you just pick the train carriage, which suits your vibration. And the trains are leaving the station, all of them. At the moment, they're all quite close together, but they're getting further apart. And your vibration will determine which train's right for you. And then as they all divide, your vibration will determine what happens to you later. It's all about vibration. Now that's the start of this. Stilton didn't at the time explain to me how one can have, it's never happened before, and it's happened many times before. But I understood you choose your timeline. Your vibration determines what happens to you. And I'm pausing particularly because I have to feel the energy of this, because it's very subtle, what I'm saying. So the shift is personal. The environment, as you're experiencing it, your life, your physical environment, is created by the consciousness which you are. As within, so without. This is an energetic, vibrational existence, often called Maya, illusion, dream, projection, hologram. That's what this place is. Within consciousness, created by consciousness, for consciousness which you are to experience itself, within the environment it's made for itself, like any dream. And I know we like to think that there are 7 billion people here, let's say, and each one is consciousness, forgetting all the gaps in between the people. We focus on the people, each one is consciousness, and all our dreams intertwine. But it's simpler than that. There's one. There's one consciousness. And if you can feel your breathing now, be aware of the chair you're sitting on, be aware of the sounds, be aware of the screen and the peripheral vision around the screen, and be aware of, now that you're aware, you're in that state now, as I am, which is consciousness, source, God, life. And in this state, there is no other. There's only this that I am. And everything that exists is a vibration within consciousness. And the state of my own level, my own vibration, determines what happens around me. And that includes all the other apparent people. So, this is the universe. You, it could be said, are your own universe. You're creating your own universe. Uni, one. One verse, one story. It's you. You are it. For me, I am it. But for you, you are it. You are the universe. This is not new. It's been said in spiritual teachers before. Spiritual teachings, the world is yourself. This isn't new. It's just putting a few of these subtle bits together. The universe is you. You are the consciousness of this universe. And that's why this has never happened before in this universe, because it's never happened to you before in this universe. And yet that's how it's happened many times before in this universe, because in this universe, which is a story, a dream, an illusion, a projection, hologram, you can dream anything you like. And so in order for the story to make sense and to unfold, we're told this has happened many times before. Just as if you were asleep in bed having a dream and someone came to you just around the corner, a massive tree fell over. Did it? You dreamt someone telling you it did. So one could say in that situation, use an extreme example, in that dream, no tree has ever fallen over. And yet someone's telling you a tree just fell over. How can it fall over, not fall over? Because from the dream perspective, the dream had just started and it's never happened before. It never happened. And yet in the dream, the story says it's happened. So that's how you can have the two opposites. It happens and doesn't happen. Exists and doesn't exist. Because everything that happens for the first time is the first time it's ever happened, let's say, in this universe, in this dream. And yet the story in the dream could be, it's happened many times. This is consciousness. You are consciousness. This is all one. You are here. You are that one. Don't go into imagination, imagine other people, because you've let go of the one, and that's why you're starting to point to all these other things. There's that thing, and that thing, and that person, and that person, and that person. That's your mind just splitting everything up when everything is one, and you are it. And the universe is you. You are the universe. And I can't tell you how serious, how relevant this is right now. Because this is the vibrational shift into 5D consciousness. It is to own your own universe, to own your own space. Be responsible for your life and what happens in any part of it. Because it's all an energetic vibration from one's own being, creating the environment. We can say, as I gave the example earlier, that it's like trains leaving a busy train station, and you choose your vibration and you slot into the timeline which suits you. And that is correct and appropriate for the people who still believe everything's separate. The timeline is over there and I go into it. But actually, I am the consciousness, the vibrating, literally creating my holographic experience within consciousness. What I experience in my vision is a projection within consciousness from my own being onto the screen of awareness, and that shows me images, shapes, colours, things moving around. And the sensory world with the mind, the brain, which is also part of the creation, interprets electrical impulses that give me sensations, just as I do when I'm asleep in bed, having a dream that something hurts. The brain creates it. The mind creates it. The imagination within consciousness creates it. This is your creation. This is your universe. And this is why it's also called God realization. Not because you're special. You can't be special when you're just the same as everyone else, when there is only one. There is no special if there's one. It just happens to be this one is everything. And you're realizing everything is that one, which you are. I don't know if you can get this, hopefully you can. It's actually really, really, really simple. And yet the mind is likely to try and grab it and fall off it, which mine does before I started to say it. It occurred to me I had to make notes. And then each time I tried to grasp it with my mind to try to remember what I was going to say and how I was going to explain it, I lost it. I couldn't even hold on to it. So it's incredibly simple, but it's incredibly important, because right now people are getting lost in some of them of what's going on in the world, some of the bad stories, not least of all the conspiracy theories. And the ascension is supposed to be partly including exposing the negative information, exposing the bad stuff that's been going on for decades, thousands of years. Now it's being exposed as the vibration speeds up. But if you focus on the information on this level, you're focusing on how separate everything is. You're keeping yourself in the world of separation. And you're cutting yourself off from the sense of being consciousness, being life, being God, being source, being pure awareness, whatever you want to call it. And this is important. And as you open to this, you'll start to notice the synchronicities occurring in your life and problems being fixed. And if that happens, try not to get too excited and focus on what's just happened, but come back to the space, because this will become the constant reality as things continue to speed up. This will happen more and more and more, and less people will be able to connect with this and move with it. All that means is in that time and space, that person, that consciousness, will stop. And that's the vibration level they're at. They can't go any further. And their environment will be created accordingly around them. And for them, all the people in their environment are still there. Because it's a projection within consciousness, and the people carry on, like any dream. And for others, they keep going up. The vibration keeps raising and raising. And as they do so, their environment changes accordingly. Things more and more slot into place. Life becomes easier and easier, and solutions speed up quicker and quicker. And again, at some point, they'll find their ceiling, their own level. They can't go up anymore. And so their level is there. And others will keep going up to what they call 5, the 5th dimensional consciousness. Not the 5th dimension, apparently that's something different. That's the whole physical environment becomes non-physical. It's remaining physical, so it's said, but the vibration is just much faster. Although some have said the bodies are becoming crystalline, but I don't know about that. For me, it's all consciousness, and it'll happen when it does. And at the same time, you've got those that are still right on this level. This, I mean the bottom, let's say, fighting, worrying, blaming, accusing, may or may not be involved with the conspiracy stuff. They may have uncovered all the awful things that's happening, and they know who's doing what to whom, let's say. But they're still stuck down there in the world of separation, struggling and fighting. There is no separation as you move up the vibration, as you focus within. There becomes less and less separation till eventually everything is my creation, is my projection. Me, with a capital M, consciousness, God, source, life. Everything is here now. So stick with this if you can. Be conscious and watch. This is your universe. You are the universe. This is your projection, your creation. Thank you.